It's Tuesday, July 8th. Today on The Social. Can a sexless marriage still be a happy marriage? The shocking number of couples that don't engage in intimacy. All starts now on The Social.
Make sure you're jumping online right now. Are you tweeting with us, Facebooking with us, all of that? You know how it works. Make sure you get your opinion heard so we can talk about it right here on our panel. And this one you may really start to pipe up about, because the question we have for you today is, can you have a happy marriage without sex? Okay, so one of our viewers, who is also the editor of the online magazine, the Hudsucker, well, she tweeted at us with an article about exactly that issue. So experts are estimating that about 40 million Americans, that works out to about 1 in 5 marriages, are actually in sexless marriages, which seems really high. But there could be many reasons for this. It could be the fact that they've got maybe children. There could be a lack of self-esteem. In some cases, there are physical, maybe medical issues, of course. But according to this piece, without sex and without communication about sexual expectations, a relationship will suffer. Do you need sex to have a happy marriage?
With each other?
Yes.
Good question. Good question.
Good to clarify.
Yes.
Very good to clarify. And the answer is yes, with each other, nobody else outside.
Okay. Just
clarifying. Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, let's be honest, though, for a second. Kids sort of, like, suffocate your sex life for a little while. I think
slow it down.
Slow it down. I mean, for me, I felt like it kind of flatlined it for a little bit, and
sure.
We had to pull out the, defibrillator and just sort of like clear, and just sort of just now it's starting to become alive again in my life. And I think with this statistic, it's staggering. But do we know how long this is? So if they're saying that 40 million Americans are in sexless marriages, is it just for, let's say, a 6-month stint?
No, they're looking at about the year mark. So
for an entire year.
We're talking like either none in a year or maybe up to 2 times in an entire year.
I think there needs to be more discussion around that, because I do think you can go for close to a year with very sporadic sex when you have a new baby. I think your hormones change, but I think if you're looking at it longer than that, I mean, obviously there's a bit of a problem there. Sex is the glue that holds a marriage together, and you need to have it. But it does take a while to get back into the swing of things after you've been out of it for a while.
It's one of those things. Do you find that, maybe you're not in a relationship that the frequency is up where you'd like it to be, but then when you do it, you're like, oh, this is really great. I kind of forgot how great this is. But then, the next night, like, I'm tired. And then the next, so sometimes it takes a while. I tend to think that sex, or the expression that you have in sex with one another, is reflective of the state of the relationship. So if there's trouble in the relationship, you're going to see it in the bedroom. And conversely, if you're having a wonderful, healthy, communicative relationship, you're going to also see it in the bedroom. So to me, if you're not having sex, there's something bigger going on in the bedroom, in the relationship. I think that needs to be addressed. And then I think the sex takes care of itself.
I've been married and now I'm divorced, and sex wasn't an issue in my breakup, but so I'm doing some soul searching and figuring out what I want next in my next relationship, like, and if it's going to turn into marriage, what would it look like? And I'm imagining it to be having sex in my marriage. But that being said, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that have come to some maybe agreement for some reason to not have sex. My only concern with saying you're not having a sexless marriage is that, have 2 people really agreed not to have sex? Or is one person getting sex somewhere else? I don't know.
And that's actually one of the interesting
points.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, because Sherilyn Folland just Facebooked us and said, I know of couples who are married without sex and are faithful. There's way more to a healthy marriage than sex or no sex. It's about closeness and putting the other person before you.
Okay.
I do think you go through, as you mentioned, you go through different phases in life. And I think the problem is that if you both are on the same page, like you're going through a phase, and you communicate about this, you're okay if both your desires are the same. It's when one person's desire is way out of whack from the other one.
Right.
And I think this is one of those things you only see once you've been in a relationship for a while, because when you first get together with someone, it's like hot and heavy all the time. And then when the dust settles, that's when you really see how different or how much the same your desire levels are. And I think that's when hopefully this type of discussion opens up conversations in our homes about cheating as well, because when you consistently aren't having one person, their needs aren't getting met.
Somebody's needs aren't getting met
right.
somewhere.
Eventually.
And I remember we had an expert on saying that as parents, we talk, or as an adult, we talk more about driving, like getting our driver's test and going for the initial test and taking a driving course and then getting your license. We talk more about driving than we do about sex. Mm-hmm. And I hope that couples are talking about that. They're not letting sex die out in the relationship without saying, you know what, honey? I think it's time we figure something out.
But I wonder how many people talk about it. Right, but let's put on a little tape.
costume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm taking it old school.
It's like, what?
Let's put on a tape. Does anybody have a VHS anymore?
Why does everything go back to costumes? Everything goes back with choreography and costumes. Tracy, that's how it goes.
We just have a little, and I think when you put a little humor in it, it'd be easier to have a conversation. You know, a little wine, if you don't drink wine, a little chocolate, something, and then say, hey, I got this.
Well, hopefully we've got the conversation started in your house, maybe in this audience too. All right, so on to our next topic.